Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Game Week 15 Deadline stream, and it's live. We are 1 hour to the 11 a.m. UK deadline. I'm set, locked in, ready to go. I feel like my team could have been a free hit this week, to be very honest. I've landed very, very strong. So why I send the links out for today's stream. I will confirm what I've done in terms of transfers. I have sold Luke Ayling for Cancelo, who I'm not certain will start. Neither am I certain that Ruben Diaz will start either. But it leaves me with a very strong looking team for this game week, which is Emi Martinez in goal, a back four of Trent Alexander-Arnold, Andrew Robertson, Ruben Diaz, Cancelo, midfield three of Mohamed Salah, captain, Heung-min Son, Jack Grealish up front, Ollie Watkins, Che Adams, Dominic Calvert-Lewin all have, in theory, very good fixtures. Oh, I need that. Subs. Sam Johnson, sub-goalkeeper. Mason Greenwood, who was a one-week punt last week. Expect him probably to come in, I think, for Ruben Diaz. Possibly doesn't play today. Thomas Souček's there if both City guys don't play, but then in that case I would need Cole Walker-Peters. So I'm even covered in as far back as my third sub with a good fixture, so I'm lined up quite well this game week. In terms of captaincy, I think it's very straightforward this week. If you've got Mohamed Salah, it's going to be very difficult not to go for him, to be honest. As you can see on the captaincy bottom right hand corner of your screen, those are my top 10 picks in order this game week. It's very heavily dominated by Liverpool. There is a big risk around Kevin De Bruyne, but he's obviously capable of doing his thing. One notable absentee you'll see on that list is Raheem Sterling from the top 10. My instinct is that he doesn't play. That's me guessing Pep Roulette, which is always a dangerous thing to do. I think Aguero does get some minutes, and I've seen a few who are obviously keen to take the gamble. I wouldn't advise it. I think this is a good week just to go with everyone else and go with Mohamed Salah personally. Bruno away to Leicester, Kane away to Wolves. Not great fixtures. If you've got Mohamed Salah, you almost need to captain him if you own him. Obviously, if you don't own him, look at alternatives. But honestly, I would still generally be looking at Liverpool, Mane, even Trent and Robertson, in my opinion. Great options for this particular week. As ever, thank you very much to our man FPL Captain. You can give him a follow. His Twitter handle is in the top left-hand corner of the graphic. All your fixtures going across the bottom. Let's get into the questions over the next 55 minutes or so. See if we can help people with their FPL dilemmas. I hope you all obviously had a brilliant Christmas day. Today is a better day. There are 6 games of football, and I wish you all green arrows. Let's go for it, guys. This will be fast-paced. Ritwick 1998 is first in. Finally, the wild card can be active after 1 hour from now. Yes, I should probably note that about my team as well. I've finally got to a team that I absolutely love, and yes, I'm about to wild card straight out of it. That's life. Edwin Guan, who to transfer out? Lamptey or James? 1 free transfer. With many of answering these questions, guys, it's not straightforward. What are you doing from a chip strategy perspective? Are you aiming for just the one game week? So it's difficult to answer. If you're aiming for the blank, do you really want to keep Tariq Lamptey, who's away to Manchester City? Reece James, I believe, hasn't been completely ruled out yet, and neither has Ben Chilwell. So I think it's a sell Tariq Lamptey, personally. Harry Redmond, I want Son on wildcard. Who do I move him to for double game week? Well, my strategy at the moment is to hold the money back for game week 19 to go from Son to Bruno Fernandes. As part of my strategy is holding quite a bit of money back. But if I end up having to keep Son through the single, it's not the worst. Edwin Gran, I like your hat, James. Thanks, mate. I always tend to wear this cap on the streams because I'm tired of people coming in saying, who do you support? And believe it or not, even though I wear this, some people still say, who do you support? Kartik says, Chilwell to Balbuena, Welbeck to Brewster, Watkins to Firmino, -4 1 week. Not keen on that, mate, to be honest with you. Chilwell could yet play. Welbeck. Problem with Danny Welbeck, you never know from one game to the other if he's going to play or not. But West Ham away is not the worst fixture. Firmino, if you're looking to get him in for the Christmas period, I don't hate it. I'm not keen on that, my friend. Rohannes, morning James, Merry Christmas. Have two questions. First, what has happened to Dele Alli and what's his future at the club? Second, KDB or Grealish, who to take out for Son after this game week? Who to take out for Son? I'd need to know what your team is. Are you saying take out KDB or Grealish? I mean, I'd remove Grealish. If you can afford to go Grealish to Son, then that seems great. I wouldn't want to be removing KDB. I now think KDB probably starts today and on Monday. That's now my thinking, where pre-Arsenal, pre the COVID news, I thought he probably wouldn't play today. I think he probably plays both games now. On Dele Alli, doesn't move the ball quick enough between the lines. It was noticeable, though, that amongst Tottenham fans on Twitter, they voted Dele Alli our man of the match at Stoke on Wednesday. There's a rising belief that he should be in and amongst the team. Lo Celso's injury means that he should at least be on the bench in every game at the moment. That said, Eric Lamella's back and he can obviously fill in that hole. So I expect to see Ndombele play an hour tomorrow and Eric Lamella play the last half hour. That's probably what I'd expect at the moment in the game at Wolves. Doesn't move the ball quick enough between the lines when that's essential to Mourinho's tactical ideas, is that you penetrate as fast as possible when you have the ball in dangerous areas, and that's Dele Alli's big problem at the moment. But I still feel he's got a role to play. I want him to try and rediscover the form that he had, and that's the best way to do it. Get the ball, release the ball. In terms of his goal scoring output, he'll get more if he played the same games as Ndombele and Lo Celso. He'd get more than both of them two put together. So he's still an asset. Jack Wilson says, morning James, start KWP or Soufal? I'd lean for Soufal because of question marks around a lot of fitness of some Southampton players. I would go for Soufal. There is a chance, obviously, Soufal doesn't play himself. His wife gave birth yesterday. That was something that Soufal himself announced on Twitter. Look, I've seen players play the next morning when their partners are giving birth. So the game's not till Sunday. There's every chance he will play. But it's Christmas. David Moyes might not be a Scrooge. He might say, look, back off, don't play this game. We need you for Southampton away on game week 16. That's quite possible. So I would go Soufal, knowing there's a possibility he doesn't play. Harry Redmond said, if Antonio's in squad today, is he worth the double game week punt? Can be rested on my team versus Southampton? Yep, that's a big call that I may have to make myself, Harry. And I may well make it. What I'm thinking with my wild card at the moment is to only go to West Ham players, so I can get from Adams to Bamford if I want to. If I go with all three, Adams, Bamford and Antonio, that means a complete reworking of what my ideas of strategy are at the moment. And if I lose Antonio, there's no one else around that value that I want to go to. And to get to Jamie Vardy, for example, is going to potentially be quite difficult. So my thinking at the moment is probably to go without. Edwin Graham, get Cancelo in? Yes, I did. That wasn't on my radar, but the Kyle Walker news made me think that there was a much stronger possibility that he plays today. So Cancelo is the man that's in. I think there's a strong possibility that he still doesn't play. Same applies to Ruben Diaz. I've got the cover on the bench if they don't, so it should be okay. Harry Redmond, is Rafinha the best 4.5 million option? No, but he might be the best 5.4 million option, my friend. Jack Wilson, you going Trent and Robbo on wildcard? That is definitely my plan, Jack, yeah. Ripwick198, any must-haves for the wildcard now? No such thing as a must-have, mate. Sujan Shah says, message retracted. What did he retract? Good morning, Suj. Hope you had a good Christmas. Hope the boys and the missus are well. Rishi Patel says, start Martinez or McCarthy in goal. I think I'd go Martinez. Vish Wadget says, what is the points potential of using free hit in blank game week 33? With potentially all big clubs blanking rather than using free hit in game week 18, according to the schedule of Ben Crellin. You might have misunderstood that, my friend. I mean, game week 33, there might only be one blank, 2 blanks at the most. And if those clubs are out of Europe, it might not even be a blank at all. So, in terms of game week 33, no, game week 29 will have a lot of blanks. I think you need to go and revisit Ben's spreadsheet, make sure you're clear on that. The thing is, for 29, it's easier to plan to from 26, and obviously 18 and 19 are next to each other. That's why I'm likely to free hit in 18. It'll be 9 extra players for me in terms of what my plan is at the moment, so I think it's worth it. Phil Plum says, hi James, Merry Christmas. Hope Harry had a lovely day yesterday. Chilwell to Matip from -4. No, I wouldn't, Phil. As if you've got any defensive bench cover, then I wouldn't do it. If If you haven't, if you're sitting there with like your Mitchells and you're worried and stuff, then maybe yes, there's no reason for Joel Matip not to play. Ben Chilwell hasn't been ruled out either. Ben Chilwell was on Instagram yesterday, posted a picture of himself with Tammy Abraham and someone else, which was definitely in the changing rooms of Chelsea's training ground. Whether that means he's fit or not, I have no idea. But I'm not sure it's worth it, mate. Suj says, morning, James, morning all. Thank you, Suj. Probably misspelt something. Still pissed. Vishwadjit, how many max hits to get a proper team for double game week 19? That's not what's important. What's important is that your single game week players, if you carry some through, have good fixtures. You don't want, for example, Jamal Lewis away to Arsenal was the example I gave on my stream the other night. You know, if you've got Son or Kane and they've got single fixtures, or you've got the Man City boys, if you've got Aubameyang on for whatever reason, then that's all reasonable for single game week players. And there are loads further down who are, you know, Jack Grealish, for example, homes at Everton. If you carry him through, it's absolutely fine. It's more important in terms of if you have single game week players that have a good single game week, if you're intending to bench boost. If you're not intending to bench boost, obviously, of course, you could bench some of the shit players, Jamal Lewis, if he's there, if you're looking to use your triple captain, for example. So, the thing with hits is, I always say, judge it on a personal circumstance. So, is that hit worth it for you? What's worth it for you might not be worth it for me, because we'll be transferring different players, most likely. It's not a straightforward answer. Praise says, morning, James. Happy Boxing Day. Do people even say that? Yeah, I say it all the time, mate. Anyway, I've got a lot of value in on Chilwell and don't know if I hold, and if no, who do I bring in? Well, again, Praise, and this goes for so many people. What's the strategy here? So, if you're looking to wild card and you're not looking for a bench boost in 19, and you don't want Ben Chilwell, get rid. If you're planning for 18 and Ben Chilwell's going to be no part of it, get rid. If you definitely want him in that double game week 19, can you reassess once you've got more information following the Arsenal fixture? I think at the moment, if you've got a lot of value built up and you've got a decent bench, which I think a lot of people will have this week, I'd hold, mate. Andrew Moore says, wildcard in game week 16. So taking some one-week punts. Which of these combinations do you think will score higher? TAA and Werner, TAA and DCL, or Cancelo and Firmino? TAA and DCL. Harry Redmond says Vardy versus Martial on wildcard. Assuming Vardy start today, rest later. I think if I had to go on the wildcard, Harry, I'd go Martial. Purely on the basis, like I said, I can't be wildcarding into someone I'm absolutely convinced personally that doesn't play in the week that I'm wildcarding into. I think Leicester will heavily rotate at Crystal Palace. I don't think Vardy will even travel, personally. I think he'll get told. The chances are, if he keeps running through with these injuries after games and his recovery is slow because of this ongoing hip issue, etc., then 48 hour turnaround is going to be too much. I think he doesn't even travel, personally. So, therefore, I couldn't be having Vardy on the wild card. There's a chance I'll buy Jamie Vardy as early as game week 17, personally. But if I had to get one, reluctantly, it would be Martial. But it would be reluctantly, personally. Himanshu says, hey James, Merry Christmas. Is Fabianski Sufal worth doing a double game week? It's absolutely reasonable, mate. Jay Lodge. Morning, pal. Hope you had a great Christmas. Thoughts on Bruno and Giroud to Bernardo Silva and Aguero captain. Wildcard in 16. Jeez. You could make that move, mate, and neither of them start. Simple as that. I would probably literally just keep Bruno. If you fucked for captaincy options this week, i.e. no Liverpool, just stick the armband on Bruno. And if you're worried about Giroud's participation, you can buy basically any of the three forwards I've got, most likely. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Che Adams, Watkins, all very reasonable for this week for a simple 1-3 transfer. William Jones, hi James, hope you're okay, mate, and had a great Christmas, thank you. Who would you start this week, Cresswell or Dallas? I think Cresswell because of the potential on set pieces, which is something that Brighton has struggled with when Matt Ryan was in goal, but haven't had any problems with Sanchez in goal. But it's early days. We don't really know the answers yet. But I think because of that, you go for Cresswell, I think. Jassim Jazz, hi James. Chilwell replacement, City Boys or Justin Castagna. Got Robbo, Dallas, Taylor and Sufal. Jassim, what are you doing? What's the strategy? Is this a 1-week punt? Is it longer term thinking? at the moment, I assume that most people are working towards game week 19, is what I have to assume. Therefore, I'm going to answer it in that way. I'd hold. I'd hold as long as you've got a bench. Honestly, I'm going to repeat myself a lot on that. I think I would hold. If that's what you're playing towards is 19, if you've got a bench today, I would hold. Savanch Singh, start Taylor or Dallas. To be honest, so to answer your question, if it's blanks and doubles, it doesn't matter. Probably Ruben Diaz, but then even though Ruben Diaz is in my team, I don't think he plays today. Savanch says start Taylor or Dallas. I think Dallas, because they're playing at home. Burnley are not likely to go mad against Leeds, are they? There's always potential for a clean sheet when you play against Burnley, and obviously you've got the double potential with Dallas. Obviously gets forward so well. I assume he plays right back again. Kartik, you don't need to put things in capitals, my friend. Who to bench? Balbuena, Taylor, KWP, Basuma, Brewster. You definitely play Taylor. I would probably pick KWP just over Charlie Taylor this game week, so it's bench the other three. Jack Wilson thinks Sufel plays after wife gave birth yesterday. I don't know if that's a question or you're just responding to what my comment was a little earlier, Jack. My instinct is he probably doesn't, actually. And TJ, hi James, happy Xmas. Would you bench boost for game week 19 if you have Son, DCL, KDB and Martinez as single game weekers? Who among them would you sell if I want to bring one more double game week in? I would definitely want a double game week in goalkeeper and potential for that. The chances are you'll be buying someone you like less, but perhaps Martinez to McCarthy on the day. Probably wouldn't do it before then. Might seem like a decent move. That Villa got difficult fixtures. Southampton got Liverpool in game week 17. You might decide that's one to do sooner. I think Areola and Johnston are reasonable, so I would want bench boost goalkeepers, definitely. The others reasonable at DCL away to Villa, KDB at home to Palace, Son away to Sheffield United. They're not the worst. You've probably got a lot of value tied up in them, which is perhaps a major reason why you want to keep those particular players as well. Martinez is the one that would bin if you're struggling there, Ant. But yeah, they're the sort of guys, exactly what I'm referring to. Nice mix of, you've got premium, semi-premium player you've got mass value in, who you probably don't want to sell, who's mid-range forward price. They're all reasonable to carry through as single game week players. Nasu says, using wildcard 16, thoughts on triple Spurs that is Dyer, Son, Kane? Well, if you're going to get free over this period, Nasu, those are the three that I would recommend. What you're doing when you get to 19 is a different matter, potentially. But again, to be honest, they're the sort of ones as well. They're reasonable to carry through as single game week players. Remember as well, game week 20, Tottenham do play Liverpool. Also play Chelsea in game week 22 as well. So you need to be conscious of that. Serge says, Pulisic on wildcard, worth a punt. He's in my thoughts, my friend. He's in my thoughts. I think I'm probably not going to. I think it's too much for a player that's liable to be rotated over the next 3 days. If he doesn't start at Arsenal today, that would make me tempted. Honestly, if he doesn't start, that would make me tempted, because I think, okay, plays Monday, then City's important, he'll play, he's the most important player, then you're walking into the double. But my thinking is at the moment, Suj, that I'm leaving money aside and he might be a part of it. I think it's, for me to fit in Kane, Son, Salah, Trent, Robertson, I probably can't squeeze Pulisic in as well. It's probably going to be a no. FPL Warrior says, Merry Christmas, James. Is it worth taking hits to get Liverpool defence in, or is it better to be patient and ease them in over the next few weeks? You want Liverpool now, reality. But I think there's so many people probably got good benches this week that it's probably not worth forcing. If you do it slowly, by the time you get there, you're probably bringing someone in for Southampton away. You're going to feel like you don't want to. Then the double, okay, yeah, reasonable. Then Tottenham away. You wanted to have it done previously. That's kind of the point. That's why I went back for Trent as soon as I could, basically, because of this December run. I wouldn't take hints as long as you've got recent defenders, is my personal feeling. Unless you've got someone you really want to get rid of. And that would be the advice. There's, of course, the possibility of rotation over the 3 days. I think it'll be okay, like Trent Robertson. I think they'll play all the games because of the space and it's decent, but it is a possibility. Planting seeds, Capo and Mane or Robertson. I think if you haven't got Mohamed Salah, Sadio Mane would be the top shout for me. My top 10 captaincy preferences are bottom right hand corner on the screen. Merry Christmas to you too. Sandesh says, hi James, good luck, hope you're well. Start Souček or Podence. They both play, I should imagine. Well, West Ham don't have alternatives to Souček and Declan Rice in that position particularly, so I assume Souček plays. No reason to believe the Podence doesn't play. I think on the fixture you fancy Souček, don't you, to be honest? Souček, I think. Tifo says, can Chris Wilder get his first win today? Yes, he can. Will he? Probably not. Shams in. Morning, mate. Hope you had a good day yesterday. Bench Souček or Rafinha? That one I'd play Rafinha. Farhan, playing Bowen versus Brighton or Rafinha versus Burnley. Oh, that's a bit more awkward. I think I'd probably go Rafinha again, though, actually. Championship Express. Morning, James. I've got 7 double game week players right now. I use my wild card. Also have James and Chilwell, though. So have you got 9? Or is that maybe bringing you to 5? Reckon I'm best bringing in single game week players to get 11 out in game week 18, then free hit for the double game week, or the opposite? I think you're probably best off trying to save your chips and just try and patch it up as best you can. I wouldn't stress about bringing in the single game week players in advance. So if you've got 7 double game week players now, Jay, I'm going to guess you've got 8 single game week players. You don't need to do a lot for that. That's fine. I would still be thinking towards the double because of the power of it. If you've got the good captaincy covered in 18, then don't worry about it too much and muddle through. I probably wouldn't free hit in 19 in your scenario unless it looks very bad. Harry Redmond says, does Mason Holgate start, you think? In my predicted team that I did for my advanced tiers, I had Seamus Coleman in it. I think Holgate probably plays one of the 2 games. And I think it's probably more likely that they'll go with a narrow 4 against City rather than today against Sheffield United. My instinct would be no, Harry, but I mean, we're talking 55-45 here, so I wouldn't be surprised if that goes the other day. Owen Walsh, oh yeah, James, hope you and yours had a nice Christmas. Bench Alioski or Taylor? Well, Alioski's, I mean, in the team short term until Leeds get their players fit. I presume he's going to play, so I'd play Alioski, mate. Haku says, FPL Cup qualification round starts in next game week. Are you ready? No one gives a shit about it, mate. The Emerald Pilot, good morning and Merry Christmas. I'm thinking about -8. As if one of the defender won't play, that leaves me with 10 or 9 players. I have Dallas, Diaz, Soufal, Lamptey, Mitchell. And that's more like a situation where I'd say, yeah, you might be down to 1 defender there. I can understand why you want to get something moved there. So that's a good example where I say, okay, fine, move it there. Great defensive fixtures this week. But if you're going to take that sort of hit, I'd definitely find a way to make sure there's a Liverpool player involved. Sheila says 1 week punt for a defender for 4.9 million. Already have Stones and Soufal. 1 week punt for a defender. Dallas, reasonable. You obviously can't get to Matip with that value. You've got Stones. Jan Bednarek, way to Fulham, might be another interesting one. West Ham, Balbuena, really cheap, 4.4 million. Esri Konsa, I expect to be back most likely. Actually, to be fair, with the 2 clean sheets, I wouldn't be surprised if Horse plays and then Konsa comes back in on Monday, so I'd probably skip that one. I think Dallas is probably your best shout. That's probably the best shout, yeah. Savant says KDB to Salah and Chilwell to Taylor, aiming for double game week 19. Yep, fine. -4. Not ideal, but I assume then obviously putting the armband on Salah today, which I absolutely can't argue against. Alistair Copa, hi James, would you start McCarthy or Fabianski in goal? Leaning Fabianski as Vestergaard and Romero could be an issue. And would you bench Harrison or Souček? Thanks, Merry Christmas and good luck to you. I think I'd pick Souček over Harrison, but not Souček over Rafinha, which is really interesting because I think that makes me define Rafinha as a better choice than Harrison. Yes, Fabianski, I think you've answered your theory quite well there, Alistair. I'd already said similar, so yeah, I think Fabianski. Planting Seeds, just seen your capo choices bottom right. Cheers, G. No problems, mate. Avi says, hi James, any Soufal news? Kind of went over this. My defenders are Taylor, Robertson, Soufal, James plus Lamptey, both who would not play. Do you recommend a -4 to bring someone City defender just in case Soufal doesn't play? No, because you'd be guessing the City team. There is an assumption by everyone, because Cole Walker's got COVID, that Cancelo would play. But Cancelo surely definitely plays away to Everton on Monday. So does he definitely play today? Is it possible even that Cancelo plays 45 minutes? For me, it's a free transfer. It's quite straightforward. For -4, I don't think so. If I was doing that, genuinely, I would rather, personally, if I was in your position, I'd be moving Lamptey. I'd look at Lamptey to someone like Balbuena, more straightforward, but I would not be taking a -4 for that. I'd leave it and keep your fingers crossed that Soufal plays. Vishwant says Robbo and Trent for double game week. That is my plan. Farhan, oh yeah, James playing Bowen or Rafinha. Oh yeah, it always gets me to answer questions, doesn't it? By the way, if one thing summed up Christmas in 2020, Jesus getting COVID on Christmas Day really did fucking sum up 2020, didn't it? Bowen or Rafinha? I'm going to go Rafinha, actually. Ray Qureshi, morning, James. Hope you had a great Christmas, lad. Thinking long term, would you rather have DCL or TAA? Kudos to being the FPL marathon man. Thank you, mate. What do you think I'm going to say, Ray? You're asking that for personal reasons. I saw you put a poll on Twitter. TAA is the answer, my friend. David O'Regan, would you play this week Zuma or Souček? Thanks. I would probably play Zuma at the moment, actually. I didn't think I'd be saying that a couple of months ago, but I think that's what I'd do. FPL family, Lee and Sam are in. Morning, mate. Hope you, Harry, and the family had a great day yesterday. Cheers and good luck this week. Cheers, guys. Hope the kids are well. Hope you had a good one. I hope you took loads of pictures. Lee, you've never been in a bad photograph. Driz says, hi, mate. Help me out here. Got Soufal, Dallas, KWP, Cancelo, Souček, Rafinha. Played 3 defenders and 1 midfielder. I'm starting to feel like Pep switching them around in the last few days. Okay. So you want to pick 3 of them defenders. You got to play Cancelo and take it for whatever it is. I'd go Rafinha. I'd go Rafinha over Souček, as I said. Dallas and Soufal, and KWP covers you. I wouldn't give it too much thought, mate. Luke Porteous, morning, mate. Hope you had a good Christmas. Did thank you, mate. Hope you did too. Nasu, which 2 keepers would you like for the double? Was thinking Mendy and McCarthy, and use Mendy long term. Reasonable idea if you can afford to do it. You probably want to be thinking to come off McCarthy, because you don't really want sort of nearly 10 million for goalkeepers involved there, which is why I'm probably Johnston and Areola for 10. Did I say nearly 10? 9 that would be, weren't it, for me? That's what I'm thinking. Ash, start Ayling, James or KWP? Definitely start Reece James. Either play or don't play, mate. Ayling or KWP? It's more difficult than the Dallas one, because Ayling's playing centre half and it's just not an attacking threat anymore in this position particularly. Although he can go on mad ones, because anyone who plays for Leeds can. Because it's against Burnley, I think still go Ayling. James, Ayling, KWP, that order. DC, best 1 week punt, Firmino or Aguero? Do you know what? If I was in that position, I'd go Firmino. Honestly, if it's 1 week punt, you've only got 2 Liverpool or 1 Liverpool. Genuinely, he's a bad price, but if it's a 1 week punt, price is irrelevant. I think Firmino. I do think Aguero will start, but what that means, I don't know. I mean, if they're winning the game comfortably, does he just come off after 45 minutes? Or do they leave him on because they've no intention of playing him on Monday, for example? I think it's a possibility even that you could play Sterling or Ferran Torres as a false 9, get Aguero ready for Monday. I think Firmino. Neil Zappels, Westwood and Wood for game week 16, game week 19 to free up double Liverpool defence cash. Yep, it's okay. Garang Barra, who to bench, Souček or Watkins? Souček, my friend. Anders Brogard, hi James, start Che Adams or Rafinha? Guys, I'm always going to say pick the forward here. Nearly always. Start Che Adams, mate. Edwin Grand, leave a like, guys. Thanks, Edwin. Yeah, if you want to drop a subscribe, it's Christmas and all that shit. Lewis James, at Suj, do you think Soufal doesn't play today? Suj has probably already disappeared, mate, and gone back to bed with his hangover. Perlo's Pen, you'll be proud this week. Took a -8 for Trent and Robbo. Good luck, my friend. Another Hoots morning, mate. Hope you had a good Christmas. Would you start Conser or Justin this week? I would start Conser. It's another one where He'll either start or he won't. It's not likely to come on as a substitute. So I would start Konsa. I do think I have predicted Leicester Man United 0-0 as well, but I think we would start Konsa. Stephen Martin Jones stuck with Torres. Do you think he's got a chance of a start? Yes, he's got a chance of a start. This is the problem with rotating Man City players. You get into a fixture like this and you can't really sell them. Neil Zappels, Werner should be hauling anytime soon, right, lads? How did he not score these weeks? Like, what the actual... I'll finish it for you. Fuck. He's had 11 big chances this season, Timo Werner, and scored 4 goals. Ouch. Does have 9 attacking returns, though, so he's not doing too badly. Yes, he's likely to. Arsenal away, Villa at home, City at home. Doesn't massively appeal. Keaton for the double. Great. Wolves after the double. Tottenham a couple of weeks later. It's not the best run of fixtures. He's also obviously spending a lot of time on the right at the moment, which he's still getting chances from, by the way, but I prefer him off the left, but also prefer Pulisic off the left. And you've got Ziyech about to return. Rotation. Sell if you got no problems. Farhad says, morning James, would you play Bowen or Rafinha? Rafinha. Nathaniel, 1,000 apologies if you've covered a question like this already. Which of Wood or Adams would you suggest as a better choice? Would keep for the medium term beyond game week 20. Okay, so a little bit of a longer term thinking. I would edge to Adams. One of the reasons for that is I obviously had Wood early in the season, and it frustrated the life out of me, to be very honest. Burnley have improved a bit. The immediate there is, look, Wood's got Sheffield United and Fulham following Leeds away, so the immediate is a little bit better for Chris Wood. Double is better for Adams, in my opinion. Even though both teams have got 2 away games. And in terms of landing afterwards, Adams lands with Arsenal at home, Villa at home, whereas Wood is about to land into also Villa at home, but then Chelsea away, City at home. So if you're saying beyond game week 20, I think Che Adams. Where are we? Matthias says, hi James, happy Boxing Day. Which 2 would you play out of Dallas, Soufal, Souček? I would play Dallas and Souček. Neil says, Dallas playing even further up front this weekend. People think he cannot score a consecutive third, but he could. Who said that, mate? Stian Bosdell, what did you get for Christmas? Good day. Looking forward to Chelsea putting the last nail in Arteta's coffin. I don't think it'll be the last nail. It won't be today that decides what happens to Arteta. Would I get for nothing, mate? I had a great day with my son. Christmas presents and all that and wasting money at the moment is not on the agenda for me and the wife. The things we want to do financially with a house and stuff. So generally, literally nothing. Nothing. I've got everything I want with my boy. Rajan says, do you like your team? I do this week, very unusually. Yeah, it feels a bit like a free hit team. As he said, after burning 2 transfers early this week, with Soufal likely to be tending to his baby, and Vestergaard likely injured, where's the nearest weapon? The one time I do early transfers. Suck it up and hope that it works out for you, mate. Honestly, you could go to someone who could get rotated, right? I wouldn't advise buying anyone who's got a game. If you're thinking beyond the game week, I wouldn't advise buying anyone who's playing 2 games in 3 days today, particularly. I'd be looking more at the teams who have got better space in between them games. So, like Liverpool, for example. I mean, even like a Fulham have got nice space in between their games, for example. Leicester, you can't be buying Jamie Vardy, honestly, with Palace to come 2 days later. So factor that into your thinking. But there is nothing to suggest that Soufal won't play because his wife's had a baby. There are loads of players who have played the next day after their other half was given birth. Loads. Andreas says, good morning from Sweden. We'll be on Wildcard Game Week 16. Use the free transfer on KDB to or Reece James to Trent Robertson. Definitely move on to the Liverpool boys, mate, as in one of them ones defensively. At KDB, you should be okay today. I would go Trent or Robertson, mate. And if you're asking me to pick one, I'm going to say Trent. Hasselbank is win. Thoughts on not using any chips in game week 18 and 19? It's okay. We discussed this idea a little bit on the strategy pods earlier in the week. Depends on personal circumstance. I said this on the end of the pod as well. Don't let anybody tell you that you can't do something or you have to play a certain strategy this way. Do what you think is best. It's absolutely fine. It's almost impossible to ask without knowing what your full plans are, what your squad is, what you want to do with your transfers. Everybody's circumstance is going to be different. I think for a lot of people who've already used the first wild card, I think it's very reasonable, depending on where you sit circumstance-wise, to go through both without using the chip. It's fine. Ahmed says, hey James, hello Ahmed. Ian Parrin, my friend, hope you're well. Morning James, hope you and the family had a terrific Christmas. Sky question, who will you captain on Monday if KDB plays near 90 today? Who will I captain on Monday? Let's have a look. Let's see who I've got. I forget who I've got. What have we got Monday? I'll have to open the Sky app. At the moment, I'm obviously bust captain KDB on both, although I'm still not 100% decided that I'm going to go KDB today. I just think he's the one who's most likely to go off, and I think a lot of other people will take that gamble, and if I don't have him, then everyone else is, a lot of other people are going to miss as well. Who would I captain Monday? I'd go Jack Grealish, mate. To be honest, away to Chelsea, I wouldn't have too much issue with that. Just go with that. He'd be obviously highly owned. I think a lot of people might fall into that as well. So Grealish, if I had concerns, but the plan is to captain KDB in both, and I'm presumably not going to know. Ian, as obviously KDB plays late both days, so we'll take a chance. If KDB played 90 minutes today, I might be a little bit concerned, but I think I'll just captain him again, to be honest. And for FPL, is Vardy to Firmino for a 1 week punt pre-wild card a sign of madness? Nah, it's very reasonable, Ian. It's fine, mate. Ahmed says, hey James, any news on City COVID status? Yep. Baby Jesus has got it. Carl Walker's got it. 2 staff members have got it. Wish them all a speedy recovery. No further news than that. Nothing, mate. Elron Cupboard, would you do Vardy to Son in Sky? Cheers for all the content over the past year. No. No, just look at Son's returns. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. You're gonna probably, if you do that, you're gonna be thinking, oh, I want to captain Vardy against Newcastle. So if you're on Vardy, I think you stick it out Monday and just accept that there's a good chance he won't play. The other benefit is, I could be completely wrong, he does play at Palace, and that's the game you'll get the benefit of seeing the team. So I would sit tight, Ron. As he says, I won't do it this week anyway, but has it become too much of a gamble now to captain players against Burnley as they're starting to tighten up? Well, you're still going to go Salah, I think, if you've got in game week 19. Other than that, you'd probably only be considering, I mean, Chelsea players 21. It's not often you feel like captaining a Chelsea player. Liverpool that week have West Ham. I think it's still go with a Liverpool player. Man City got Sheffield United, so that's not an option. Game week 22. Burnley at home to Manchester City. Liverpool at home to Brighton. So I don't think there's a case where it'll come up anyway, mate. Neil says, Hasselbank, you soldiering on through game week 18 with good captaincy and a few haulers then. I don't know if that's a question aimed at me or I was going to be aimed at someone else. Fine, I'll ignore that. Please at someone if you're obviously replying to them in the chat, please, guys. We are 20 minutes to deadline. There is a good chance at this stage, guys, if you ask a question, I may not get to it, but I'll get through these as quickly as I can. Brendan Davis, you think KDB starts today? Tempted by Grealish, captain Sky if we know he starts. Happy Christmas. I haven't decided, Brendan. I really haven't decided. At the moment, I'm bust on KDB, and that's genuinely probably what I'm likely to do. I think, yes, he probably does. I'm not overly big on Bruno's fixture away to Leicester. I like the fact that Bruno has a decent 3-day break. Grealish and KDB could even come off early if they do really well today with another game 2 days later. I think it is reasonable to go to Grealish today. To be honest, I think it's a really tough call for Sky captaincy today, which one of those 3 players you go for. So very reasonable to go to any of them. But I think if KDB starts and I don't captain him, I'll regret it more than if I do and he doesn't play. Ayman says, do I start Neto or Souček? You're probably going to go Souček, I think. Not as easy. I like Neto. I think he's a good player. Jonathan says, El Ghazi, good signing. Yes, if it's for 1 week, very reasonable. Good 1 week punt, El Ghazi, if you haven't got triple Villa and you're looking to come straight off with a wild card. Justin Dye, morning, James. Good luck this weekend. I hope you and the family had a good holiday. Yes, thank you, Justin. I hope you did too. Holiday's more today, though. Stuart Taylor, Pascal Gross out. I know. For 1 week punt at 0 in the bank. El Ghazi, Sigurdsson, JWP. Yeah, El Ghazi, reasonable, Stuart. Rob Pick, many Christmas buddy. May have already answered this. We start Souček or Dallas. Dallas, I think. It's probably how I'd have played it. I think probably Dallas. Close one though. Azzy, is the draw in the week the best thing Darren Bent has done for Spurs? Yes, Azzy, yes. Yeah, I did think that at the time. A couple of goals, one game at Man City. Putting a goal back in the 4-4 at Arsenal. Otherwise, there's not much to write home about. Yeah, it probably was. Mac Wong recommended bringing in Pulisic. I don't hate it, but it's not one I think you need to force through for this game week. Gary Robinson, Kane a better captain pick than Son for 16 and 17. My opinion on that, Gary, would be yes. Particularly for the Fulham game. I can see the excitement of Son versus Leeds that will appeal to everybody. But remember with Leeds as well, they also concede a high volume of shots. And no one takes more of them than Harry. So I think still Harry for both game weeks, yeah. Bets 1604 morning, James. Got both Lamptey and Romeo sitting in my Sky team. Was going to switch one to Vestergaard, but he's not certain to start now. Any thoughts? Cheers. That's a really difficult one. Lamptey you want to get rid of, really. Romeo's okay. You can sit him in there. That's not too bad. The other thing, of course, you can do is obviously come through the day and don't necessarily have to buy players today. I tell you what, if you want to jump in my DMs, mate, send us a screenshot. I'll have a quick look for you because I'd need to see what the rest of you've got there, to be honest. Neil says, purely is a good game with 19 option as well. Please at the people if you're responding to them. Vince, Bruno, Mason, Grealish. Hey, James, I've had Kane and Son all season. But is there a case for removing one or both of them soon? Of course there is, but it's probably not now, mate. Not if you're carrying through with those fixtures in 16, 17. I think you accept it. So, I mean, I sold Kane prior to Liverpool, which at the moment's worked out. But then after Wolves, I'm probably going back to him. So, I think you're looking after these Christmas fixtures to think about moving at this stage. Adam Bjorkand, I picked one of Trent and Robertson. I picked Trent to bring in for Diaz. Trent. Lixmer, good morning. Loving the deadline streams. Good luck. Neil says 50 Oyers incoming in 3, 2, 1. Sayuj, how to get rid of Brewster and Kilman, stuck with him for a long time. Merry Christmas and good luck, mate. Thank you. There isn't easy answers to that, I'm afraid. You have to sacrifice something else in the team to make that happen. Manish, any chance for Marty starting against United? Highly unlikely, but probably does start away to Palace, I would suggest, and he is 3.9 million. Sayuj says, and will Diaz play? My instinct is no. But that's just me guessing Pep Roulette. Pups, morning, James. Would you start Lookman or Souček? I would start Souček. Border Gems, bench 1. McGinn, Click, or Che Adams. I would bench McGinn. Jonathan Ajal, bench Watkins or Bamford. Find a different solution, Jonathan, I'd suggest. But if you have to pick one of the two to bench, Watkins, just because he's struggling a little bit in front of goal, but he can easily return. Niels, you seem content on answering every question. You should set up your own YouTube stream, my friend. Super Tiger, hi James, just a Merry Christmas to you and the family. You too, Tom Bolton, your thoughts on Rodrigo versus Wood for the next 8 or so. That one I would prefer Wood, actually. Suj is saying to everyone, Soufal will play tomorrow in his opinion. Mark Byrne, morning James, heard what you said about Firmino, but would you do that move for -4 to bring Kane back in afterwards? If it helps set you up, yeah, I haven't got too much of a problem with that. Gobbins says Wilson or Burke as first sub. I'd play Callum Wilson, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's rested at Manchester City today, by the way. FPL Benighted, Merry Christmas James, Grealish to Son or Ayling to Matip. Just for this week, Ayling to Matip, mate. Al Dante, would Giroud punish Arsenal? Oh, well, every other former player seems to have scored against Arsenal recently. Jonathan says Raheem Sterling is his captain. Good luck, Jonathan. Calvin L, Son to Sterling for a -4. Not for me, mate. Well, how are you going to feel if Sterling's benched? FPL booster, Diaz or Cancelo. I think if I was buying one right now, very short term, I'd actually go Cancelo. FPL booster. Guys, Jonathan, Niels, if you want to have your own private chat, jump on Twitter, kids. DMs. Jake Bridges. Dallas versus Burnley or Dyer versus Wolves? I'd go Dallas, actually. Abel says James to Trent for a hit or play Charlie Taylor for James. Do you want Trent long term, Abel? If you want Trent long term, I don't mind it. Otherwise, there's nothing wrong with playing Charlie Taylor this week. James Lovegrove, Merry Christmas. Rishi, Wilson and Chilwell to TAA and Rodrigo. Already have Bamford, but Leeds are very attacking and Rodrigo is posting great stats. Rodrigo has started the last 3. I can't see the question in there, mate. Sounds like you've already decided. Francis Dogan, Richarlison out. -8 for Abraham. Building double game week team. Merry Christmas, everyone. I wouldn't want Abraham or Giroud. They probably play one game each. Javid says, what do you think about Soufal and Cresswell to start? Sudret and Soufal will start. My instinct is that he might get a rest. Cresswell should start. David McCann. Morning, James. Moving Chilwell and Vardy to Matip and Kane. Vardy has been brilliant, but fixtures ahead favour Kane. FPL Warriors. Matip, a terrible choice for getting in on Liverpool defence. No, he's not. He's a cheaper. He's a cheaper option. Simple as that. Listen, he could score from one of these Trent or Robbo corner deliveries, couldn't he? James Lovegrove, hope you had a good one, James. Just logged on. Found myself with Aguero in my team this morning. Must have been more merry than I thought. Good luck, mate. Adam says Messier or Martinez. Could be Messier for Martinez. You mean Meslier. Let's pick one for this week. I think because Burnley's the opposition, you give Meslier the shirt, I think. Mark Charles, considering taking a -4 for De Bruyne to Mane. Possible rest for Kevin with games close together. Is he too important to Man City to rest? I probably wouldn't make that move, actually. I don't think I would make it. You hate it if De Bruyne's in that team tonight. I don't think it's worth it. Adam Denial. Adam, there we go. Let's just click you because I can't stand repeat offenders. Block in chat. Hide user on this channel. Adam, I can't be dealing with that stuff, mate. One question's good enough, mate. When you ask a question next week, I'm not going to see it, mate. Sorry about that. Happy Christmas. Patrick Lawson, bench Matt Target. Have Martinez or Eric Dyer. I'd play Target, I think. Jared says, good morning. Border, bench one. I've had that one already as well. Bench McGinn, I'm pretty sure I said. JK, Diaz or Cancelo plays. To buy one, I'd probably say Cancelo. Now, Gorilla 7, do we know if Salah's starting or rumours like last week? Shouldn't be an issue, mate. Should play. Oh, look, here's another one. Claire Henman. Yeah. You can also get hide user on chat. Cheers. Can't bother. Like, you don't need to put the question in there several times, kids. Happy Christmas, though, Claire. Hope you're well. Mirza, would you transfer out DCL and James for TAA and Che Adams? Also have double game week in mind. If they're for free, mate, I don't mind that at all. Niels, stop replying to people, mate. It's brain damage, mate, when I'm trying to read people's comments. FPL Glasto, spam, my wonderful spam. Yeah, don't worry, I got the spammers. Arif Echo, hi James, Wilson or Walker Peters to start, thanks. Genuinely, I would go Callum Wilson. One breakaway, one dodgy moment, a penalty. Honestly, I would pick Wilson. I'm not joking. Adam Zorzi, morning, James. Would you play Suchet or Che Adams? Che Adams. Arif, hello, Adam. My head-to-head league rival, great. Lamichi. Hi, James. Would you move Mahrez and Lewis out for Rafinha and TAA? Would bench Soufal for TAA if I make that move? Oh, I lost your comment. It seems to have caught up with the comments. If you want to throw in, guys, we've got 10 minutes to the deadline. Where's your comment gone? Did you just remove it? I didn't remove that. Where's that comment gone? It's gone. It's gone. Where's it gone? FPL 10, Josh. Good luck with the wildcard next week, James. Are you hitting the button tonight or waiting until tomorrow to do it? Be hitting it at fucking 12 o'clock, mate. It's nothing to wait for. Sage says, thanks, mate. Good luck, mate. Please subscribe to the channel. Great content. Thank you very much. Joe English, who would you captain except the Liverpool lads? KDB. There's a clue, Joe, bottom right hand corner of the screen. There's some suggestions for you. Z21293. Hi James, should I start both of James and Chilwell? Taylor and Justin Diaz and my other defenders? I would start them both, mate. Either play or won't play. Ayman says Neto or Souček. I ain't just Souček. And Mel, sorry if this has been asked. Vestergaard, sure is out. Question. Merry Christmas, mate. No, can't be sure. Had fluid on the knee. Hadn't been training, but I mean, Hasenhüttl's press conference was Wednesday or Thursday. To be at least 2 training sessions after that where we haven't got the information. So, no, he's not definitely out. There are players who, in the next 48 hours, you'll get the team sheet and you'll be like, where are they? Where are they? And it's because they picked up an injury in training on Christmas Day and no one knows about it. Simple as that. Z21293. Hi, James. That's the one I've done, I think. Anmo. Sorry if it's been asked. Just done that. Azra. Aguero in question. T-Tac, I asked. Full-time talk. Thanks. Chad Damons. Will Stone start? Don't pick the Man City team. Will Stone start? I'm predicting no. Aguero in. I mean, it's up to you, isn't it, Azra? RTX F5. Here comes the pain. Hi, James. Bamford or Adams for this game week? Bamford. Brendan Marger. Hey, James. Who would you pick between Ward-Prowse and Click? Personally, Ward-Prowse. Manfred 11. Rodrigo in for Wilson from -4. Not Kane. Someone's highlighted Rodrigo's stats, haven't they? my guess is FPL Wire. FPL Glasto, no questions, just season's greetings to one and all. Ahmed, you don't need to put shit on capital letters. Souček or Giroud? You have to pick Giroud, mate, but he probably gets benched. Super Tiger, you must be buzzing with a Carabao Cup draw. Who'd you rather face in the final, assuming you beat Brentford? We've got to deal with Brentford. I would definitely rather play Manchester United. Am I buzzing with the draw? No. Bets1604, non-related FPL question, James. Grealish could be the player we thought Jack Wilshere would be for England. Can get the ball from deep, can take on players, and has a great pass. Agree or disagree? I want him to play in midfield for England. I'd like him to play as a 10 in a 4-2-3-1, personally. Chad Damon's hi, James. Cancelo or Robertson for 1 week punt. Got to back the Liverpool player there, mate. Chazzy565, Rashford or Bruno for captain. There's a clue, bottom right hand corner of the screen. Ian T, best for Charleston replacement, have 8.5 million to spend. If it's a 1 week punt, I wouldn't look beyond his mate, Calvert-Lewin. Bamford, Watkins, Adams, all reasonable. Lamici, hi James. Would you move Lewis and Morris for Rafinha and TA from -4? Would bench Soufal for TAA if I make that move? Ooh, that's a really difficult one. The thing is, here's what happens. This is all dependent on Morris. If Morris doesn't play, you win. Definitely do it. If he does, you're probably going to regret it. It's as simple as that. Pepsi, prefer Coke personally, but hello mate. Hi James, your back 4 could get you a monster haul. Good luck. It probably won't. Mark Ainsworth, Merry Xmas James. Will Balbuena play? Double game week 19. Yeah, 100% definitely plays. It's 3 weeks away. Who knows? Is he first choice? Yes. I think we've seen that with the fact that he came straight back into the team last week. There shouldn't be an issue. Can circumstances change with selection? They've got Diop, who he's a good player as well, right? But Moyes has obviously preferred Balbuena and Ogbonna for a while now. So it shouldn't be an issue. Can circumstances change? Yes. If you're asking Mark, Balbuena will probably be in my wild card. Liam 8, 1 week punt. Click out to Henderson or El Ghazi. Oh, I'd go El Ghazi, that one actually. Another hoops looking ahead. Would you consider Mount or Maddison for the double game week? Not on radar at the moment, personally. Patrick Lawson, have a nice Christmas. Yes, thank you, Patrick. We are 5 minutes to deadline, guys. Chazzy565, you've already asked that, mate. JK, thanks for today's stream for Game Week 15, but heard a lot of chat from people talking of not using free hit in Game Week 18 due to fixtures being light. They say to focus more on future double game weeks for free hit. Thoughts? My thoughts are that's absolutely reasonable if that's people's strategy. My strategy is I'm playing it in Game Week 18. FPL Sponge, 7 players in blank Game Week 18. No Kane, acceptable. Leaning towards saving free hit for blank Game Week 29 to maximise bench boost double Game Week 26. Also very reasonable. Arif Eco, hi James, do you think Con's fit to start? He's fit. I'm not certain that he starts though. Edwin Grand, these spammers, man. Yeah, don't worry, they're gone, mate. Just do what I've done, hide them from the chat. Benau, what's your overall rank? 2.1 million, I believe. But the important one is 102nd in Sky. Gary Norris, 2 of Ailing, Webster, Taylor, Justin. Cheers for the great content this year. Not Webster. Wasted fucking time, that. He'll definitely get a clean sheet now. Sorry, Suj. I'd go Ailing and Justin. Justin over Taylor, I think. Now, scrap that. I'd play Taylor. Fuck it. Jack Wilson, Palace to best Villa. You would say that, Jack. Sam Johnson, who do I drop? Bowen, Adams or DCL? Well, it's got to be Bowen from that. Frank Sherman, Merry Christmas, James. Good luck for the game week, no question. Thanks very much. Neil says, sorry, mate. Would have started answering questions if I didn't have latency issues. I saw it earlier. We'll remember to not do so or start our own channel. Start your own channel, mate. We'll subscribe to that. Jonathan said, isn't Barkley being back great for Watkins? Could be. No guarantee he starts, but yes, possibly. Chazzy565 says, Rashford or Bruno? No, mate. Chazzy, hide from channel. I can't be bothered. There's a big ass clue on the screen. T-Tac, Suchak, Su4, Dallas, bench 1. Sufal. Another Hoops, not sure who said, here comes the pain, but I'm playing. What amazing game on PS2 while I watch the stream. Sadnik, is Balbuena nailed in that Hammers backline? Who goes out when Masuaku comes back? Masuaku's not likely to be back for a while. I wouldn't worry about it too much, mate. HK, keep or sell Vestergaard and Chilwell have got Diaz, Sufal and Balbuena on the bench. You should be okay. You should be okay, HK. T-Tac, why isn't Sterling on your chart when he had the rest and has been City's best scorer? Because I've got a hunch that he doesn't play. Simple as that. That's it. It's just personal choice. If I had an 11th, it'd be Raheem Sterling. I did explain this right at the start. Tim Shannon, happy Christmas, James. Hope everyone had a great Christmas. I'm keeping the chips and have tinkered for both 18 and 19 with at least 9 players in both. Joe Finley Badder sends in a kiss. FPL Glasto, full fat or Diet Coke. It's got to be full fat, mate. But yeah, generally during the day I would not be drinking a full fat Coke. If I fancied a Coke in the middle of the day, I'd have a Diet Coke or Coke Zero. Ben Ayo, also is Jack Grealish the best player in the Premier League? No, that's Kevin De Bruyne, but he's probably the most in form. Nidres, Watkins blank with yellow incoming. Terrific. FPL Glasto, what wildcard stuff are you streaming? Not a lot. We will have a podcast out at midnight tomorrow night on Sunday UK time. Me and Sid will be recording straight after Wolves Tottenham, and we're going to be on wildcard. So midnight tomorrow. The plan is to have that on YouTube at midnight tomorrow as well. And I'll obviously do my deadline stream. Will be 12:30, I believe, on Saturday afternoon UK time. We are 2 minutes to deadline, guys. Simon Lergel, favourite Swedish player in Premier League all time. I'd have to go for Eric Edman. Adeem Munawar, hi there, happy Christmas, Bamford or Rodrigo? Bamford for me. Nicola Torco, hi James, hope your Christmas was a delight. Would you play Click or Souček? I'd play Souček. Jordan Harrison, thoughts on the Carabao Cup game between Stoke and Spurs, James? Thought your boys were just a class above us all over the pitch. Would love to have seen that stadium form bouncing when we equalised. I thought Spurs were about 4 out of 10, Jordan. I thought Stoke were really disappointing, about 1 out of 10. I give them the 1 for putting the right kit on and managing to score. It was an awful game. Spurs strolled for it, didn't play very well. I understand Stoke obviously had a lot of players absent as well, so that's forgivable. One of priority, I think, even though it was quarter-final, priority is still what's happening in the league, so that's fair enough. But it was a bad game. Salah Amar says, Brewster, Chilwell and Walker out for, if you're considering -8, 1 minute to deadline, I would never press the button, mate. Pushkar says, just turned in now, excited more to hit the wildcard button in about 45 minutes on the game week itself. You'll be discussing your wildcard draft on pod. Yes, I will, as just said. Midnight tomorrow on YouTube and audio is the plan. Callum Mates, hey James, what would be your target to land in rank after free hit 18 and bench boost 19? I haven't thought about it too much, Callum, but I think by the end of that, I'd want to be in the top million. A lot of that might depend on what happens this game week because the team could go off today for me. So I'm hoping for a jump in rank this week. Vikrant, best goalkeeper for wildcard. Please reply. Vikrant, as long as people don't send lots of spam in. I believe deadline is here, by the way, guys. 11 o'clock. Teams should be locked in. If you want to ask any questions that are non-FPL related, I'm happy to hang around for 10-15 minutes or so. Please respond to the best wildcard for... Who was that? Sorry, Vikrant. Best goalkeeper for wildcard. Depends on your strategy. I think Sam Johnson is a very reasonable option. Fixtures, okay. 2 home fixtures before game week 19. Double's not the best, but it's not the worst. Wolves away, West Ham away. City at home afterwards probably makes you feel like you want some rotation. Then it's Fulham and Sheffield United afterwards. I think Sam Johnson's a decent shout, actually. I really do. Allardyce will definitely make them better defensively. There is no doubt about that. So I think it's a decent shout. So obviously someone was having Mendy earlier. It's still a very decent price. Hugo Lloris, genuinely, if you want to pay extra, it's reasonable. If you carried value through Martinez, it's a difficult run coming up, but I think it's fine. It's okay. So there are a number of options. The one I'm definitely going to have is Johnston. Definitely. Pushkar says, there are so many people talking about the style of Tottenham versus Mourinho's approach. If Jose gets you the Carabao Cup and Europa League final appearance and loses the top 4, what would be your take? He has to win one of them. Losing the final is not enough. He has to win one of them. Final appearances don't mean fuck all to me. Get to a final, you've got to go and win it. If he buzzes off the top 4 and wins a trophy, fine. But I discussed this a little bit. I mean, Europa League would obviously, it's the equivalent of getting in the top 4. So there's every chance that will become the priority further into the season, depending on league position. But the priority for Tottenham has to be, as much as I want a trophy, the priority for Tottenham has to be Champions League qualification. We're competing with at least 4 teams who have a lot more power in terms of money than us. Liverpool, City are obviously way better. Chelsea United clearly have more power. Arsenal will come back on the scene at some point, albeit probably not this season now. Leicester are competitive at the moment. Southampton are competitive at the moment. Everton are getting closer year on year. And it certainly will do with Carlo Ancelotti now. So staying ahead of that pack, unfortunately, has to be the priority for the future of the football club. And even more so with obviously COVID, etc. Second year without Champions League football, with having to pay off the stadium, is not a clever place to be. So like it or not, qualifying for the Champions League has to be the priority. However that is done, be it via the winning Europa League rather than finishing 4th would be better, yes. Rowan S, you can answer this after the deadline is done. Would you rather have some other manager at Spurs playing better football or have Jose win the league? I'd rather have Jose win the league. If it's going to get me that, win the league, yeah, I'll accept it if it's going to win the league. Would I rather have someone else playing better football? Yeah, 100%. Do I think Mourinho should be sacked at the moment? No, I'm a long way from where I felt in the summer. I don't think that's the case. I can at least see, as I said several times, I can see what he's trying to do. And I don't necessarily agree with it, but I can at least see the strategy. Whereas in June, July, I couldn't even see a strategy. Mustafa Hassan, is Cancelo 100% now? As in, 100% fit? 100% likely to play? Don't know. Jack, I will check that, mate. Thank you. Notorious Nerd, will Spurs do any business in January? I'm not expecting any at all. Genuinely. Not expecting anything. Centre-back or central midfielder, possibly, but I think only if players have moved on. Mustafa Hassan, Trent or Robbo for the double game week. Got a solution for that, Mustafa? Pick both. Not easy to say. I'd prefer Trent because of his massive differential at the moment. Excuse me. Dan76 Lord, he's the person to ask. Trent or Robbo. It says, morning James, happy Christmas, my Liverpool correspondent, and he will be on the Clash of the Correspondents ahead of double game week 19 as well. Callum Mates, non-FPL, what's your biggest challenge as a content creator? What would you love to improve? Brilliant question. Biggest challenge? Well, this year it's been doing it from the bloody spare bedroom is not easy. Particularly when you get the odd Wi-Fi issue, etc. Although it's been quite good, touch wood, bar one bad stream I had a couple of weeks ago. Biggest challenge at the moment is that. The biggest challenge, Callan, is finding new ways to improve. So we always try and do new things. So we come up with ideas like Correspondent Week, the 24-hour stream, going back further, the concept of Clash the Correspondents, starting the Sky podcast. Now, obviously, with patrons on board, because we spoke the other day, it's like, what can I do to make things better? That is the challenge. The challenge is constantly not sitting still and finding new ways to innovate and improve the content. From a content a volume output, I can't do physically much more than what I'm doing now, particularly over this period where there's I mean, if you've got midweek fixtures as well, I'm going to watch 18, 19 games of football most likely as well. So that's the challenge, is how to improve. And that's always what we're striving to do. Always want to improve and be better. The quality is always more important than the quantity. If it's ever a case that it becomes just for sake, we will stop. We won't do it anymore. It has to be about quality. So people's poll on Tuesday at the moment, I've got no ideas on a topic. I will try and find something that's innovative and fresh, different to what you're hearing at the moment. That's always the challenge. Another Hoops, great stream, man. Good luck this game week. Pepsi, would you change Vardy for Son in Sky? I answered that a little bit earlier, mate. No. Nicola Torco, good luck, everyone. Thank you, James. Best FPL streamer out there. I disagree with that, but I appreciate the kind sentiment, Nicola. There are some amazing YouTube streamers out there doing great work. Infamous BVZ, I have a big question. Okay. I've viewed wildcards and free hits. Should I use the wildcard before game week 19 and then gear my team for game week 18? In my opinion, no. My opinion is that for those who've already used the first wildcard, you were better off trying to maneuver 18 and 19 without using free hit. Free hit you can. You'd be better off using it without using the second wildcard, because we will all be guessing the game week 26-29 problem and future issues further down the line. And also, game week 19 to 38 is a bloody long time without a second wild card. I would advise not to use the second wild card. Mustafa Hassan, Cancelo likely to play because Walker's COVID? Well, that's the assumption, Mustafa. Yep. Nerdish, I think Reds will have the same game as with Watford previous year. Okay, so you're talking about Nigel Pearson came in for Watford and they played quite well at Anfield, and it was a difficult game and Liverpool won 2-0. All right, double Liverpool defensive, that's fine. Jack Wilson, where could you see Eze playing in a few years? Looks unreal. Jack, I'm afraid to say not at your club, mate. He does look great. Love him. Brilliant talent. Probably depends how soon he leaves. If he was to leave next summer, you could see him at an Arsenal or Tottenham. If it's going to be in 3 or 4 years, then you could more likely see it being a City or a Liverpool potentially. Rowan S, why do you think you're doing so much better in Sky than FPL? So Sky is a million times easier for a start. It's quite easy to get a team together with Bruno, KDB, Kane, Salah all in it, which is not easy to do. There's the amount of captaincies, so you use these guys a lot, nearly every time they play for captaincy. There's also less competition, so in Sky there's probably, I don't know, 2,000 to 3,000 good players, maybe. In FPL, there's probably 200 to 300,000 really good FPL players. So it's a lot harder, simple as that. In FPL, there are external factors you can't control, like thinking about price changes. Sky is a stationary game. It's very much about fixture planning and strategy, Sky, which is a strength. This is why I'd like to think that over the next 4 or 5 weeks or so, I will do very well in FPL, I'd like to think. But that's why it's quite straightforward. Sky is a lot easier than FPL. It's also more enjoyable. I'm not going to lie to anyone about that. David Beaton, got my times mixed up today. Hi James, Merry Christmas. Who are you captaining in Sky today? Bruno for me over KDB. Slight risk perhaps. I think I'm going to go KDB, David. I'm going to have a proper think once obviously shut down this stream. But I think I'm going to go KDB. I think I'm going to take the chance. Mark Mahoas, what a team you have for game 15. Massive defence potential. It's bound to get like 6 points, isn't it? Another Hoots, we all know technology is such a biggest challenge. Yes, true. Peter Peters, Bamford or Che Adams for Richarlison. Deadline has gone, Peter, I'm afraid to say. But if you're looking for the next week, then I'd be looking for Bamford probably. Sian says, Son for KDB for 16-19, borrowing 18 free hit. Is that wise? I think it's okay. Mark Cahoas. Personally, you are the podcast I like listening to the most. Appreciate that. JB, hey James from Down Under, all the best for Xmas. What's the most scared for your safety from opposing fans you've ever felt at an English footy game? That's an amazing question. Never particularly. I guess when I was about, in fact, I don't have to tell you about. I can tell you how old I was. I was 9. We won at Arsenal, and Arsenal basically played a reserve team. The game was actually after the season had finished. It was a game that had to be caught up, and there wasn't the pressure then to play all the games on the final day at the same time. And to be honest, the game meant nothing to either team other than rivalry. Arsenal put out reserve teams, so was playing Sheffield Wednesday in the FA Cup final afterwards. We won 3-1. And it was a reduced capacity because Arsenal were rebuilding the North Bank, and I was literally at the front on the clock end. And when we scored, everyone powered forward. So that was, but it wasn't fencing or anything. It wasn't like, obviously all the fencing had come down from grounds by then. But I was more happy than scared because John Hendry was playing for us, and I ran right in front of us. It was like amazing. I was like, I'm gonna die, but this is the best moment. Other than that, I can't, in terms of like violence or something or hooliganism or anything like that. To be honest, if I've ever seen anything kicking off, you should just walk away. Walk away. Hooligans don't want to, if I'm there with my mum and dad, for example, it's not the sort of people that want to be targeting. Even away in Europe, no major incidents. Police in Barcelona are fucking useless. Wasn't too dissimilar in Milan when I went out there either. But no trouble with fans of the opposition that I had. I'm trying to think even on Germany is so pleasant to go to. It's brilliant, Germany football. I've not had major problems. I've seen fights loads, and you see less now than you used to. But no, I get maybe going to Upton Park a few years ago. You have to walk around the alley to go to the old Upton Park and walk through the flats, but the police had it pretty well sussed. But West Ham were looking for us that night, and I wasn't with my parents, I was with a mate, so they wouldn't have given a shit that night. They would try to have a go. But then after the game, it wasn't intimidating at all. They basically blocked the road off and walked all the Tottenham back onto the tube station. And even though West Ham had won, you could hear a pin drop. It wasn't that bad at all. So touch wood, no, I've not. Listen, you should never go to football and be scared. Never. I've never been in a stadium and felt, oh, they're going to climb over here or anything like that. Or no, touch wood. I've been lucky, mate. Mark Cajonas, you could get 40 points just from your defence this game week. I hope so. Super side, Carabao Cup win or finish fourth. I'll take fourth, mate. Infamous BVZ. Alright, sounds good, thanks. Just got to make sure both 18 and 19 are okay. Might take a minus 16 if needed, if that's what's best for you. Neil says, agreed that you're a great streamer. Thank you. I like the WYSIWYG attitude, and if you don't like it, piss off attitude, very honest, but you still always stay friendly. I have no idea what that acronym means, but I might Google it afterwards. But thank you. Patrick Lawson says, fully expect Zinchenko to start for City. So do I, actually. Actually, I don't know. It might be a case that he trusts Zinchenko more at Everton than he trusts Mendy. I think the thinking is that Cancelo is probably going to play right back, isn't it? Jack Wilson thinks Zaha gets a move soon. I think he probably ends up staying now. Although if he goes anywhere, it'll be Arsenal, mate. It'll be Arsenal. Peter Peters, Bamford, Yub Arts, that, mate. Che Adams made it into my team. Nice. Notorious Nerd, Rodrigo or Rafinha, higher points potential. Well, they're all going mad for Rodrigo on the stats, aren't they? So I'm going to say Rafinha. Jack Wilson, sell us with packed fans, one of the best, if not best in Prem, if not who is up there. It's the worst fucking away ground, mate. Can't see nothing if you're anything further back than about 6 rows. It's a fucking disaster. I don't know how that half a weight stand passed the health and safety, mate. I like Villa Park for an away game. Really good. Plus, generally, I prefer being on the side, even more so with fucking VAR now. For atmosphere, Palace is... I'm not being horrible, mate. Palace is so overhyped for atmosphere. Honestly, it really is. The Homesdale end in the corner, they're brilliant, but that's it. No one else says nothing. So, no, Palace wouldn't be right up there for atmosphere, in my opinion, honestly. I'm not meaning to be harsh about it. It's not. It's really overhyped. HK, Burnley defenders worth the transfer for the double game week? It's a good question, that, because I obviously want to get Taylor, really, and wildcard into Sheffield United at home, Fulham at home. That's great. But do I want, say, Charlie Taylor away to West Ham and away to Liverpool as part of a bench boost? It doesn't appeal. But what if it goes well? Fixtures aren't great afterwards either. Villa at home, fine. Then Chelsea and Man City for Burnley. Now, obviously, it's value. You can bench him. It's not a problem. And it might that thinking might bring Nick Pope back into the conversation for me. By the way, it might well do. The benefit is probably before rather than the after. Yogesh says, thoughts on new Daddy Soufal starting. I have Console on my bench. Sidge reckons he'll start. Neil says, Yakunim is what you see is what you get. Thank you, Niels. Jack Wilson, can't believe Arsenal chose Pepe over Zaha. Neither can I. Panda FPL, my friend Rob Chetty. Morning, mate. Hope you had a good Xmas. I did thank you, Rob. Hope you did too. Mark says, when did you use wildcard 1? That, my friend, is going to be in about half an hour. Aldanti Jedi says, do you miss White Hart Lane? Massively, like you wouldn't believe. Notorious Nerd Poch to PSG, does he win the Champions League? I hope for him he does, but not in the immediate, I don't think. Jack says, Palace away fans atmosphere then. Travelling away Palace fans, decent. Yeah, decent. Sartak, whom should I pick? Vardy, Martial or Firmino? I don't know if you know that the deadline's gone, my friend. If it's for 1 week, I would have said Firmino. If it's for next week, it definitely wouldn't be Vardy. Super Tiger, does Kane and or Son start versus Brentford? Wonder if the Leeds game may be a trap. Captain Wise would then be benched and used only if needed. I think the Fulham game is more of a concern than the Leeds game. I'm pretty sure Mourinho will want those players to play against Leeds. The Fulham game, I think, is more of a concern. I wouldn't be surprised if Son is a substitute against Fulham. I think Kane plays every game. That's my instinct. And I think Son probably does as well, by the way. I think they probably both do. Jack says, how many Palace players would you have at Spurs? As in what to improve the team? I take Eze, a certainty. I know I would take Zaha at the moment. That's it, mate, to be honest. Super Tiger, no problem. Sartek says, do you think Vardy will play 90 minutes for the next 3-4 matches? Busy schedule is a risk. Don't think he plays at Palace. I don't think he'll travel to Crystal Palace on Monday. But let's see how he gets on against Manchester United today. I'm going to end the stream there, guys. Really good fun as ever. I hope you had a great Christmas. Good luck for Boxing Day. I hope your arrows are green. In terms of content, I won't go into the whole week of what's coming because another deadline stream for you on Monday. I believe deadline is 1:30 p.m. So I'll be streaming from 12:30 p.m. UK time. And as I said, we'll have a podcast out. The plan is midnight on YouTube and for the audio to get the podcast out, reviewing all the weekend action. Obviously, me and Suj are going to be on wildcard as well. So we might even have a beer. Who knows? But it should be fun. So watch out for that midnight tomorrow night. Other than that, guys, really thanks as ever everyone who commented, even the repeat commenters. Hope your arrows are green. Have a good weekend, everyone. Ciao for now.